Maruti Suzuki's People Technology presents Suzuki Connect with Navigate to Car and many other features.
Watch more, feel more. Dell.
We are at that stage now of the tournament where defeats could close campaigns and victories could keep them alive. So Bangladesh and South Africa have a lot to play for in the first of the double headers at Abu Dhabi today in the ICC Men's T20 World Cup. This is Maruti Suzuki presents ESPN Riggin for T20 Timeout, powered by Dell. Ajit Agarkar, very good afternoon to you as well as Shahriar and Nafees. Would be a little nervous now with Bangladesh's campaign, which had a lot of promise. That's lost a little bit of steam. That's lost Shakib Al Hassan, and that's also lost another toss now. Curiously, Shahriar, we thought Mahmudullah likes to bat first, but today he admits he would have wanted to bowl. But that's what South Africa have done after Babuma's won the toss. Big game today, Shahriar?
Definitely. Still, I believe Bangladesh has a lot to play for. If you look at the campaign, yes, Bangladesh has lost three, but in two matches, they were so mighty close winning both of the games. Bangladesh needs to play for pride. Bangladesh needs to play for their second ever win after the group stages in the big part. So and it will be a great opportunity for the youngsters who are going to get opportunities to play today. So I think Bangladesh needs to be aggressive. Bangladesh needs to be hopeful, and let's see what happens after 3 hours.
Sorry about that. Yeah, I've got my voice back. I hope Ajit Agarkar is back as well. Seem to have lost him as well just towards the end. No, we wait for Ajit to get back with us. No Shakib Al Hassan and a couple of changes for Bangladesh Shahriar. We're going to see the first of Shamim Hossain in this tournament. And Mustafizur Rahman has also been rested, as Mahmudullah says. He did look a bit tired, didn't he, in that last game?
Yeah, Mustafiz has been playing a lot of cricket since Zimbabwe series. He played the T20s and the one days, then he played 5 matches against Australia, then he played New Zealand series, and then he had a very hectic IPL. He was one of the main bowlers for Rajasthan Royals. So, and I think it's a well-deserved break, but it's a great opportunity for the guys who are coming and taking the shoes of Mustafiz. Mustafiz has been the best bowler and the main attacking bowler for Bangladesh in one white ball cricket. Well-deserved rest, but I believe the guys who are coming in and in place will try to do as good as possible.
All right. I hope Ajit's back with us. Yes, he is. As we just focus on South Africa, looks like a 2-horse race, Ajit, for that second spot between Australia and South Africa. South Africa peaking just yet? Are they a team that should win today comfortably, or is this a potential banana skin game for them?
Of course, I mean, it is a banana skin, but Bangladesh, nothing to lose. It can be a bit dangerous at that. And South Africa, although they've won, they haven't looked convincing, which can be a positive. When you're not playing at your best, you're still sitting at the second spot. But this is a must-win for them. Goes without saying. I don't know. You never know. West Indies might still be in the mix.
Yes.
They could put 2 really good results. They still play Australia, so I don't count them out just yet. But at this point, looks like it might be between South Africa and Australia. But West Indies is certainly lurking there.
All right. It is their strength to bowl first, isn't it, Ajit? They rely on their bowling. It seems to be a team that's built on their bowling. Their batting's picking up in pieces. But this worked well for South Africa, winning tosses, even though today is an afternoon game.
Yeah, I think so. I think what he said at the toss also, the pitch looks a bit different. There seems to be, or it looks like it might assist the seamers a little bit up front. And if that is the case, they certainly have a lot of firepower in Rabada and Nokia, because those two are not just fast but are wicket takers. And that is where you set up the game. And then they've got a really good attack, South Africa, and they've shown it in this competition so far. So chasing teams have generally been favoured throughout the course of the tournament. In an afternoon game, you think once it gets a little bit cooler, late afternoon, it might be better for batting. So could end up being a good toss to win.
Yeah, I mean, I would love to talk a little bit more about Andrik Nokia now, because it's a good day to just spend some time with Ajit, with Shahriar too, on how Andrik Nokia has become this phenomenal T20 bowler in a fairly short span of time. First, we really got to see of him at the highest level consistently was last year's IPL. and he didn't play the first leg of this year's IPL with Delhi having to go for Chris Wokes ahead of him. And now the second IPL, perhaps the standout bowler, he's carried that form into the World Cup, and that's what he looks like. His T20 numbers, 2021, that average is at 6.2. I think that's an economy rate at 6.2 and an average of 18.3, 29 wickets in 23 innings. He continues to be a standout bowler in this World Cup. Amazed by what's worked for Anrik Nortje. Seems to be the bowler for the future, Ajit.
Yeah, not surprised and not amazed at all. I mean, amazed for sure because of the way he's bowled, just straight and fast. Every now and then a little bit of nip, but he's just fast and he's hit good lengths. Playing in the UAE has certainly helped because those sort of hard lengths are difficult for the batsman. Whether you're playing in Abu Dhabi or Dubai, you get a bit of extra bounce. If you're in Sharjah, that sort of in between length is difficult for batsmen to play because it hits the invariably hits the stump because of lack of bounce. But what he's done is he's not tried to like we've seen a lot in T20 cricket where even the quickest bowlers try to experiment a fair bit, especially with the new ball. All he's done is try and bowl quick. Maybe later on in the innings there have been a few slow balls, but other than that, the lengths have been impeccable. And someone who bowls in excess of 150 kilometers is always going to be a handful, no matter who the batsman is.
Yeah, it looks like, Shahriar, that when a team plays South Africa now, the bigger threat is Nokia and not Rabada. Is that fair to say?
In recent time, it is. Rabada is a terrific bowler, no doubt. But what Nortje has brought to the South African attack is sheer pace, the aggression. He just bangs the ball into the wicket. He's very quick. Any bowler who is bowling above 150 is very handy. So it's great for South Africa to have a bowler like him when Delston is not there. So what I believe, South Africa has one of the best bowling attacks in this World Cup. You look at Rabada, you have Nokia, you have Shamsi, you have Maharaj, you have Pretorius. So it has a quite a good amount of variations, and this is giving South Africa a lot of hope going into the future.
Yeah, is
Sorry,
he
Ronak, what
outbowling?
also it's doing. I mean, Rabada has not come into the competition at his best. We saw him play in the IPL a little bit up and down, not great on form. But because Nokia's form is being so good, he's almost fed off it a little bit, and he's starting to get back to his best, which can only be a positive for South Africa because he certainly looked a lot better, Rabada, in the World Cup than he looked in the IPL.
So that can happen. A less experienced bowler who seems to be outbowling you at the time suddenly just pulls your game up as well. Can happen.
I like what South Africa have done with Kagiso Rabada as well. Used him up front. I don't think Delhi used him up front too much. Just sometimes you want to be sort of the big dog in the team, and he is. He's been so successful in international cricket. More responsibility can bring the best out in you, and at the moment, South Africa has done that to him. Clearly, they have a lot of faith in him because he's a world class bowler. But they are actually putting him in positions where he can dictate the game, and slowly but surely, you can see the form, the bowling rhythm get a lot better.
Yeah, we're going to see a lot more of Anrik Noke and Kagisora Bharathen. In the absence of Shakib Al Hasan, Bangladesh need other batters to fire. Let's just focus on Liton Das. Came into this tournament with quite the reputation. He's not quite had the World Cup he would have liked, certainly batting in the power play. Looking at his numbers before the World Cup and in this World Cup, came in with a lot of expectation, Shahriar, and we're just trying to identify players other than the Mushfiqs and the Shakibs and the Mustafizurs, maybe even the Mahmudullahs, and Liton Das was one of them. He's had quite an underwhelming World Cup. Why do you think that is?
First of all, in a World Cup, it can be the pressure of the occasion. A big stage World Cup, it happens. Like if I can recall, I had this kind of experience. So like I went to 2007 World Cup scoring 1,000 runs in a year, averaging above everyone. I was the fifth highest scorer for 2006. And suddenly in 2007, it's a pressure of expectations, pressure of out. Uh, Pressure of outgoing yourself. Sometimes it can happen. He has been in the team for such a long time, and he is one of the main players of Bangladesh team. In this World Cup, I think one particular point I can make is it looked from my part that he's trying to score very quickly, and he's trying to score in every single ball. Sometimes you need to take a breath, take couple of balls, and just go through the motion in this World Cup, and I haven't seen him playing coming down the track against the fast bowlers, but he has got himself out a couple of times in this World Cup. So I think it's trying to score too much. I think he's putting a bit pressure on himself as well. That can be the cause of his performance in this World Cup.
As a batting unit, it seems to be a similar story, Ajit, with Bangladesh, who came in again with the hope that they could upset a couple of teams, at least in this Super 12. But Shakib, Mushfiqur, similar sort of stars. No Shakib now any further in this World Cup. But where have you been disappointed with the rest of what Bangladesh have had to offer, at least with bat?
I think so. I think, and you could see that even when they played at Oman, right? Their qualifiers. Even when they played perhaps the two stronger teams in their group, they didn't quite do well with the bat. They against Papua New Guinea, I think they played much better. So you'd have thought the confidence is back. But you expect they're a test playing nation now for a while, and you expect a lot better from them, and not just be a threat. Actually they've got the players to go on and go deep in this tournament. So it's from that perspective, the batting certainly been a bit of a disappointment because you look on paper, they certainly are the players, and in these conditions, you would think that they'd be very difficult to beat. So they'd be disappointed. I'm sure they had expected a lot better of themselves, particularly once they qualified well.
Did they miss Tamim Iqbal? So there was some sort of odd news going into this tournament. I'm seeing some comments from viewers on YouTube too. Did they miss Tamim Iqbal, Shahriar?
It's difficult to replace a player like Tamim Iqbal. He's been there for such a long time and he's been performing. When before the World Cup, he had some niggles, and when he pulled himself out of the World Cup, saying that he missed 16 T20 games and he is not prepared for the World Cup physically and mentally. Uh, I think Bangladesh missed Tamim Iqbal in some sense, but the players who replaced Tamim Iqbal in this World Cup were handy. Liton Das, Naim Sheikh has been impressive. Uh,
Yeah.
if Tamim was there, probably there will be a competition between Naim Sheikh and Liton Das. Uh, sometimes that kind of calls where it's very hard to predict whether we have missed him or not. But you certainly want a player like Tamim Iqbal into the team. He brings so much energy, so much experience, and one of the senior guys who can guide the young players.
Right, they're missing a couple of senior players now, Shakib and Mustafizur Rahman. The Mustafiz hasn't quite had that sort of tournament, putting this with his bowling, lighting it up on fire. And Mahmudullah just saying he needs a bit of a rest. Shamim Hossain comes in, a first appearance in this World Cup. He'll be trying to do Shakib's role. Can he do that, Shahriar? For those of us that haven't seen much of Shamim, tell us a little more about him.
Shamim, basically a middle order batsman. He's going to play in the middle orders and the late middle orders. Exciting prospect. He is a World Cup winner. Bangladesh has got two World Cup winners in this team. One is Shariful and one is Shamim. He is a brilliant fielder. So he will definitely bring some positive energy to the fielding squad of Bangladesh. He can hit the ball. He can hit the ball straight. Uh, like I'm very happy for him that he's getting an exposure, but it's difficult to replicate what Shakib does for your team. So Nasum is going to play the part of a bowler Shakib Al Hasan, and I think it will be Afif who will bat in the upper orders, Afif or Shomo Sarkar. So Shamim will bring some firepower definitely into the late middle order, but what he brings to the team is exciting fielding, and I hope he can field as best as he can today.
Yeah, that's the other question is going to come too. So yeah, so it looks like Shakib bat three then, but you'll still look at that team, Ajit, and you think without Shakib, it seems like half that side, but perhaps an opportunity. They've learned to live without Shakib too, with all the nonsense that's gone on off the field. He's 34. There are a couple of players like Shahriar mentioned who were part of that under-19 World Cup win. So maybe not the worst thing for Bangladesh to try a few new people.
Not at all, I think, and especially now you know that they have no chance of qualifying. So there is perhaps a little bit less pressure. You're still playing for a country, so that pressure is always there, but there's still a little bit less pressure. They can perhaps play a little bit more freely, and you could unearth a gem. These are the kind of opportunities if players take. going forward can only help. So yeah, Shakib's a big miss, and he's been a big player for them throughout his career. But at some stage, they are going to have to find solutions when he's not going to be playing. And this has been a forced one, but it's an opportunity for somebody else.
Sampath from our stats team with a gem here. Shakib Al Hasan, one of the few survivors from the 2007 World T20. This is the first game in the T20 World Cup that he's missed for Bangladesh. Otherwise, all their appearances over the years in the T20 World Cup, Shakib's been there. In fact, it's the first ICC event game that he's missed since 2006, which is extraordinary. Shakib's just always been part of Bangladesh's 11 in an ICC event, and especially in the T20 World Cup. But let's hope he gets fit and better soon. And let's focus on South Africa a little more, shall we? Some of their players that have looked great. Aiden Markram seems to have been terrific in this World Cup. I don't know if that's taken you a bit by surprise, Ajit, because I've never seen Markram bat outside the top two. Suddenly, there's room for him even batting at 4, perhaps even 5, as they try to fit in a number of top order batters. Looks like the standout batter for South Africa.
He is, and I don't know whether he surprised me. Perhaps he has a little bit because of the
Yeah.
number that he's batted. But although we saw a couple of times in the IPL that we suddenly saw he had the power game, even against spin, which you don't quite know till somebody's played in these conditions against spin. But he seemed to have the game that's suited in the middle order. So a real plus for South Africa with the way he's batted. Bowls a few overs for them as well. Bowls the first over invariably in a few games now, but his batting certainly is a huge positive for them. And someone so young doing well in a World Cup game, uh, I you saw signs in the IPL. You saw signs in the IPL that he had that power game you need, particularly on slow pitches. And fortunately for them, he's carried on from that little bit of or glimpses that he showed in the IPL and gotten better in this World Cup.
Yeah, I know he's so highly rated in South Africa, Shahriar. Talented bat. He's looked like as the next generation leader to take South Africa forward and whatnot. But we thought of him more as a talented red ball bat at the top of the order, then 50 over cricket. Can you develop the power game against spin? A number of orthodox batters have struggled in this department. Markram seems to have made that evolution quite easily.
As a batter, you must have a good technique at first if you want to develop and going for the future. And Markram has that. He's a very traditional batsman who loves to bat with the straight bat. Has got very good foot movement. Against the spinners, he goes up front and goes way back. So it gives you that opportunity to play against spin bowlers. What the subcontinental player does here, against the spin, we use the feet more than the other Western countries. So he has looked a very good with the bat, a good technique. And South Africa is in rebuilding process. They are trying to replace those greats like Graham Smith and AB de Villiers, Faf du Plessis. So it's great to see a young talented players coming up. And you want a strong South Africa for a healthy competition in international cricket, because South Africa has been, though they haven't won anything, but they have been a very competitive side. And it's great to see the young guys of South Africa taking the responsibility and carrying the team in front in near future.
Yeah, well, Markram looks a league above others, at least in that South African side. And that's a surprise, perhaps, because their best batter you still think is Quinton de Kock, who's not enjoyed the happiest of times with bat in recent times. Now, we know there are the off-field issues. Hopefully, South Africa have actually resolved those, and de Kock is back in the team, so we think they have. But that's what he was before the IPL UAE leg. He was excellent in the series against Sri Lanka, leading run scorer there. So he's no alien to these conditions or this sort of bowling. But since that IPL UAE leg, he seems to have just switched off. Ajit, terrific player, but he does seem to switch off at times.
Yeah, and it must be a worry to them. I mean, he came back in the team after missing that one game. He's a terrific player. Fortunately for South Africa, they've put a couple of wins together, so they can afford to. I mean, not that they would be looking at replacing him, because on his day he's the match winner. Plus, he's a keeper, so he is an all rounder. But they'd ideally want him in form because of the starts that he gives. He can uh, play quickly at the top of the order, and we've seen the first 6 overs are starting to become even more important in the UAE, particularly in Sharjah, but in the UAE in general, uh, when the wickets start to slow down, the ball gets a bit softer, and he scores very quickly there. So might be a little bit of a worry, but for their sake, they're winning, so they can afford to, sit on Quinton de Kock a little bit longer because it only takes one innings for class players.
Yeah, and perhaps if he gets just the sort of chase that South Africa would want, it would make his job easier. So we'll come to that in a second. Teams are out there already for the anthems. Before we leave Ajit and Shahriar, let's have a quick look again at some of these stunning venue cities in the UAE. Abu Dhabi today hosts another set of double headers, and these fine visuals are powered by Dell. Shahriar, what's your favorite part of the UAE? Come on, tell Ajit and me. We're dying to know.
Uh, um, it has to be Sharjah. I've seen
Hmm?
so much cricket of Sharjah, it has to be Sharjah.
Ajit, Sharjah? Fond memories?
I mean, I've played in Abu Dhabi, played a lot at Sharjah. Obviously, for a holiday, Dubai might be the place to go. But in terms of cricket ground, all very nice. But more memories at Sharjah, having played a lot of cricket there. Seems like the ground has become smaller since the time we played. I think, although the pitches have made
Exactly,
it difficult,
exactly.
but sixes, yeah. I mean, last IPL we saw the sixes were landing on the road, which I don't
Yeah.
remember when I was playing that easily landed in the on the road. But yeah, it's some nice memories at Sharjah.
Yes, Shahriar?
No, no, I just want to add. I was wondering when I used to watch matches like in Sharjah, and when I played, the stadium looked quite big, but nowadays it looks so small. And how does it happen? I just wonder why it's happening, man.
It happens. It happens. The former cricketers, once they take a little break, no, they see things from a distance, and distance brings perspective. It gives you a better view, right? That's what happens. But yeah, it does look like that. Now this Sharjah, the surface is making the ground look very big of late. The Josh Butler defied that last night. So let's pick up the chat at the end of the innings. Thank you very much, Ajit Agarkar and Shahriar Nafees. Big game for South Africa. They can't afford to slip up. Bangladesh would like to spoil a few parties before bowing out of this tournament. So let's see where this game stands at halftime. Join us then on Maruti Suzuki presents ESPN Cricket for T20 Timeout powered by Dell.
Maruti Suzuki's People Technology presents Suzuki Connect with Navigate to Car and many other features.
Watch more, feel more, Dell.